Hello and welcome to this session of Growth Mindset. During this session, we will look to see why having a growth mindset matters. We will look between the terminology of what a growth mindset is and what a fixed mindset is. We will also look to see how a growth mindset can help with someone's self-confidence, with achieving their goals, with studying or working in the fields that you enjoy, and also fulfilling your full potential.
This slide shows all of the partners that Hello Future work with. All of these, along with Hello Future, are committed to creating opportunities to serve the young people of Cumbria to help them make informed decisions about their future.
Here you'll see the session's aims and objectives. We want learners to understand the basic concept of what a growth mindset is and also what a fixed mindset is. We want to be able to recognise that challenge can be a positive, and also for those learners that might have a negative or a fixed mindset, to look at this and how we can change this to a growth mindset.
This slide discusses why having a growth mindset matters, and there are several reasons that you can detail to give context. A key reason for its importance is that it helps to develop self-confidence both academically and in other aspects of the young person's life. This may be moving towards achieving their goals, studying or working in fields they enjoy, or just generally fulfilling their potential. Once you've gone through these, explain that later in the session you will unpick the term growth mindset and explore what it means further.
This is our paper structure challenge. For the practitioner or teacher delivering this session, introduce this challenge in a way that will encourage a fixed mindset. So for example, we would say, only 1 in 30 can complete this challenge first try, and we just expect you to have a go but not actually complete it. We really emphasise on this task being really difficult. The challenge of this is to recreate the paper structure which is shown on slide 5. And with the example shown that you may have in person, only by using a pair of scissors and 1 sheet of paper. The learners cannot touch the physical structures you may have in the room. During this activity, take note of the language in the room and how the learners approach this task. Once all the learners have had a go at completing the challenge, discuss the successes in the room. Ask the learners how they felt once the challenge was introduced, especially in a fixed mindset way. And how did the learners feel if someone else actually completed the task? Briefly introduce what a growth mindset and a fixed mindset is by using examples from what was said around the room during the task. On slide 6 will be a picture to show you how to complete this challenge, and you can walk this through with the learners after everyone's had a go.
So, the previous task showed the importance of growth mindset and most likely produced some vocal examples of a fixed mindset, such as this is impossible. Now it's time to define fixed and growth mindsets and explain how they differ. The way the young person views and approaches a challenge depends on which of these mindsets they adopt. A learner with a fixed mindset would believe that failure was a limit of their abilities. They are born either good or bad at something, and this is not something that they can develop themselves. On the other hand, a young person with a growth mindset would believe that failure is an opportunity to grow, and they can develop their ability to have a more successful try at something the next time. Once you've gone through this, introduce the card activity. For this activity, the groups of learners must decide which cards represent a fixed mindset and which cards represent a growth mindset, and split them into 2 columns. Once they have all done this, ask each group to read out 1 example of each. Note that the answers are shown on the next slide, so don't change to this slide until after the activity. This slide shows all the answers for both growth and fixed mindsets, and learners can compare their columns to see if they have identified each example. We can view and approach challenges in 2 very different ways, and it's all dependent on our own mindset. The key point here is that mindsets can change.
Here we have our neuroplasticity activity. For this, get the group to separate into pairs and explain that within their pairs, learners must look at each other in the eye and say 1, 2, 3, 1 person at a time, and see how fast they can say this. This will be difficult as it alternates and it will trick the learner's brain. So for example, in the pairs, partner A would say 1, partner B would say 2, partner A would say 3, and partner B would say 1. And repeat this until the pairs can count 1, 2, 3 on repeat very quickly. For the next turn, ask the pairs to switch with their partners. This will be a common theme throughout the activity. Now, instead of saying the number 1, you replace this with a nod. So partner A would nod, partner B would say 2, partner A would say 3, and partner B would nod. Again, repeat this until the learners can do the equivalent of 1 to 3 really quickly. Then ask the learners to change partners once again, and this time replacing the number 2 with a clap. So now it would be partner A would nod, partner B would clap, partner A would say number 3, and partner B would nod. And again, repeat this until the learners can do 1 to 3 in a really quick way. For the final time, learners will switch partners once again and switch number 3 with a stamp of the foot. So now it would be partner A would nod, partner B would clap, partner A would stamp their foot, and so on and so forth. Finally, once everyone has had a go at this, move back to their original partners and repeat by just saying the numbers 1, 2, 3 together. The idea of this activity is the group will find this much easier now you have practiced with different people and your brain has adjusted to the situation. Hopefully, this activity can really emphasize on what a growth mindset is. So now the task is finished, we like to have a couple of reflective minutes to ask the learners on how they found this task. We like to ask, did the learners find this easier after numerous practice attempts? Was anyone surprised at how quickly or challenging the task was? And how the learners felt on how the task was introduced in such a fixed mindset manner. We like to explain that a simple task, even such as counting to 3, can become difficult when you have to try and learn this in a different way to what would normally be. We like to say though that with practice and by varying how you practice something, the task can get easier and you can become more effective with this. The idea of this task is to show the theory of neuroplasticity. This is the theory of how your brain can learn new ways of thinking and recalling information if you keep practicing in different ways.
For this challenge, learners should work as a team to create this pyramid of cups. To start, make sure the 6 cups are stacked in one pile in the centre of the table with some string and an elastic band. They must all work together with both the string and elastic band to create the structure without touching the cups with their hands or other parts of their bodies. Allow some time for the learners to attempt the task and for you to check whether each group is following the rules. After the first attempt, allow the learners to go through the fail-well cycle process as shown on the next slide. If they didn't manage the task, how could they improve their strategy to be more effective? If they did, how could they improve to make themselves faster? Once they have done this, allow them to try the task again, but this time in a race. The most effective method we have found for this task is for learners to tie different bits of string to the elastic band so that they can stretch and release the band around the cups to move them by each pulling the string.
This slide shows the fail-well cycle. Explain to the learners that often new challenges can be met with obstacles, and the key is to reflect on your first try and identify the small changes you can make so that next time your input is more positive. It is also important to talk through the fail-well cycle in relation to the cup task just completed previous. Even if learners have done this correctly, there will be areas that they can build on for the race version of this task. Elaborate this based on maybe if a learner's completed a task, whether it be in school or outside of school, and it hasn't gone as they would have hoped or anticipated.
This slide introduces the iceberg illusion, which exemplifies that success takes more effort than we may see. For example, when we see a professional athlete, we only see their success, their end result, and not all of the hard work they may have put in or the challenges they may have faced along the way. Give the learners an example of someone they may know or someone famous who has overcome obstacles to reach their stage of success. Explain that success is not something that is predetermined, but something that needs to be worked for. Once you have had this discussion, allow the learners to talk in their groups and choose someone they admire and list the possible visible and invisible parts of their success. These can then be shared with the rest of the class if time permits.
On this slide, you'll see the question, how can I use a growth mindset to achieve my goals? To answer this, the learners will need to use the workbooks provided. Also on this slide, you will see 3 themes, and this is what we suggest that learners can write 3 statements in their workbooks for. So the first one, in school. So this could be a subject that the learners are possibly struggling with. Number 2, in your personal life. So this could be a sports team, a drama group, or maybe the learners are learning a new hobby. And finally, in your future. So this could be their career choice, university, or apprenticeship. We recommend that the teacher or practitioner delivering this session works around the group and has a conversation with some of the learners in the group to discuss what some of these options may be.
Thank you for listening to our walkthrough of the Growth Mindset workshop. You will have now discussed the meaning and importance of adopting a growth mindset, including some techniques such as the fail well cycle that can aid this. If you have any questions or queries, please don't hesitate to contact us via email using hellofuture@cumbria.ac.uk. Alternatively, you can reach out to us on any of the social media platforms you can now see on the screen. We hope that you find the session useful, and please let us know how you get on.